Yes,
deal with that. You see, it is very clear that our brother Agba here is learning very well from his boss, Bawumia, in terms of dishonesty and peddling falsehood. Birds of the same feathers flock together indeed. He says that in February 2015, Ghana defaulted on its debt obligations to the African Development Bank. Please, when you were speaking, I didn't interject you, so allow me to speak. That is a barefaced lie, and in fact, exposes his ignorance about what sovereign debt default is. Alfred, having delays in financial transfers to meet a debt obligation, a debt service obligation,
they were not delayed.
It's not the same as debt default.
It was a default.
Can you allow me to speak?
Agba,
can you allow me to speak?
When you were talking,
can you allow me to speak?
Was quiet.
Yes.
So I just
spoke for 20 minutes. I didn't interject once. Allow me to speak. What he's talking about in 2015 was the normal transfer delays in debt service. Even in our normal lives as individuals, sometimes when you are doing a bank transfer, it takes days before it reflects. And so because of that delay, the AFDB wrote to us raising that issue. But few days after that, that debt was paid. That debt was paid. Under President Mahama, was there any domestic debt exchange program? Do you remember?
No.
You've done this work for decades. Do you remember? No. Mr. Martin Pebu, do you remember any domestic debt exchange under Mahama?
No.
Was there any debt restructuring? Did we tell innocent Ghanaians who have lent to government that we don't have money to pay you, and that even the coupons we have to pay you, we will give you crude haircuts? Did you see pensioners demonstrating that government has taken their money, government doesn't want to pay them? Like you saw pensioners, including a former Chief Justice, picketing at the premises of the Ministry of Finance under this government. Did you see government announce to its external creditors that we are going to default on our debt obligations, for which reason we were downgraded in terms of our credit rating to D, junk, in 2022. Until date have lost access. We have been locked out of the capital market. Where Kufuor took us to for 750 million euros. Where Atamels, John Mahama took us to for 3.5 billion euros. Today we can't go there for Euro bond because we have defaulted on our debt obligations. Nobody has confidence in us. We have become the butt of jokes in the international community. This has never happened in the last 4 decades. That is what we are talking about here. We are not talking about mere delays in servicing debt because of delays in transfers. That issue you are talking about, that money was paid after. Under President Mahama, there was no debt default. When you speak like this on television, you think you're deceived. My brother, I have given you respect.
You read the details.
Show me the same respect. I beg you. I gave you respect. I did not interject. You show me the same respect, please. Look, if you do this, you are making a mockery of yourself. Because everybody knows that there was no either domestic debt default under Mahama or external debt default under Mahama. No debt exchange, no haircut whatsoever. So you should be ashamed of yourself. Under President Mahama, our credit rating was B-. Today, what is our credit rating? Junk and baller. Now, number 2, he says that John Mahama is corrupt. Why is John Mahama corrupt? Incurable corrupt because of Airbus. You people, you don't read. When you are learning from your boss, the liar, I mean, you should see some of the things you learn. Look, this is the Martin Amidu he was referencing. He says Martin Amidu has stated that John Mahama is liable in the Airbus scandal. If you read the entire Airbus report, no reference whatsoever was made to John Mahama. His name is not in the report. So, Ghana will publish this story. Anybody watching me to know that this guy sitting here is a liar, Google this story. Leave, quotes, Kumatos Airbus scandal alone and focus on the gargantuan corruption in your government. Martin Amidu to Akufo-Addo. Wednesday, 29th November 2023. Let me repeat the airline so that people can check. Leave Kumato's Airbus scandal alone. My brother, let me have my time. Let me have my time.
Hold on.
Let me have my time. Leave Kumato's Airbus scandal alone and focus on the gargantuan corruption in your government. Martin Amidu to Akufo-Addo. Now listen to what Martin Amidu said. Former Special Prosecutor Martin Amidu told President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to stop trying to revive the investigation into the Airbus Amidu started when he was in office. In a statement copied to Ghana Web, Amidu, a former Minister for Justice and Attorney General, accused the President of putting pressure on the Office of Special Prosecutor to revive the investigation into the Airbus scandal for political benefits. He told the President to focus on the corruption in his government and stop trying to revive the Airbus investigation. But if you read it, my brother, will you shut up for me to talk? Don't you have any respect for yourself and viewers? Let me have my time. I keep on telling you, don't interject me. Let me have my time.
Hold on.
I think you should call into order. Let me have my time.
Hold on.
When you were speaking, I was here.
Hold on. There's a specific reference you made to Martin Amidu, which he's making reference to.
Exactly. Let me have my time. And please, I don't have time at all. So, Alfred, I don't want interjections. Let me have my time.
Let us respect
he has
the viewers.
Interjected me more than 10 times. I keep on telling him not to do that in a nice way, and he continues to do that. To call him to order. Now let me make my point.
There's a specific reference to Martin Amidu. What has been published about Martin Amidu and his position on the Airbus is quite clear. You can find it as early as November. He stands so in July 2023 when he talks about that, the fact that investigations in respect to this Airbus SC, this European Multinational Aerospace Corporation, regarding the sale and purchase of military aircraft from the Republic. This is a statement from Martin Amidu. The office is engaged with Interpol and the central authorities of the UK and the United States under the mutual legal assistance regime. He states the fact that the true facts are that he, Martin Amidu, made the request for mutual legal assistance through the Office of the Attorney General at the time to the central authorities of the UK and the United States of America before conducting an independent investigation which necessitated charges and issuance of warrants. So that led to that conclusion that he made, which Sammy, you are reading.
This is dated 29th November.
This is what I have.
Hold on. No, I have.
You have had your time. So let me have my time.
The intervention is done.
Please, why you don't allow me to flow?
Hold on. Go ahead.
This story is dated 29th November 2023. And Martin Amidu says this Airbus matter is in a state of comatose. He has investigated it. Nothing is in there. In fact, in all the official correspondences on the scandal in the UK, John Mohammed's name is nowhere. Look, he mentioned Embraer jets that President Mills set up a committee to investigate President Mahama. Who were the members of that committee?
Let me give it to you.
Who were the members of that committee? Another lie. You people have lied over and over against Mahama.
No.
You've been in office.
That one, yeah.
You've had the opportunity to establish those lies. You have failed. Was there not Akufo-Addo, who in opposition said President Mahama had used $10 million to print presidential diaries? Was there not Akufo-Addo, who said President Mahama had inflated the cost of the Rich Hospital, the Kumasi Airport, the Cycle Dubai interchange? In opposition, didn't they say Mahama was corrupt and he's a thief? You've been in office for almost 8 years. You have not been able to adduce a scintilla of evidence to buttress any of these allegations. You've not been able to establish that Mahama is corrupt in any way. The man remains squeaky clean by now. Not even one finding of corruption against him. And because you have no shame, you can still sit on television and call him corrupt. Then that shows you are very useless. Because if President Mahama was corrupt in office, and you told Ghanaians that he was corrupt, and you were elected to come and expose that corruption and punish him, until date, you've not even been able to haul him before even one investigative body or one corruption enforcement agency or the courts. It shows how useless you are. I won't waste my time on you. Let Bawumia leave office today, and you will see how we will hold him accountable for the stinking PDS scandal he supervised, which has caused the state financial loss to the tune of $2 billion. You will see before your very eyes, your own eyes, what will happen. Again, he talks about the fact that President Mahama gave bauxite to his brother. When will you stop lying? Don't you know? Are you so illiterate that you don't know
So
that any Ghanaian can apply for a concession? You can go to the Minerals Commission, go to the ministry and apply for a reconnaissance permit. You can go to the stage of prospecting. Don't you know that Eastern Pubic went through competitive tendering before they got even the reconnaissance survey to do that exploratory work? Don't you know that they progressed to the prospective license stage before they went to the mining stage, and they were giving licenses, mining leases? And that the only reason why the Supreme Court nullified that was because Parliament could not ratify those agreements, and not because anything untoward has been done. You took over that bauxite. Till date, what have you been able to do with it? What have you been able to do with it? So if somebody stole something, why are you not able to prosecute them? Then he said that they came to meet a certain energy sector debt, and they raised $1 billion to pay it. You see, these people must learn to read. The days where they could get away with barefaced lies are over. The internet doesn't forget. Alfred, you know this, that when we were leaving office, the energy sector was indebted to the tune of billions. And we call those debt legacy debts for a reason. Why do we call it legacy debts? Because it is debt that has accumulated over the reign or the tenure of successive governments. So we call it legacy debt in the power sector, which was crippling the banking sector. So the visionary John Mahama decided not to dabble in excuses. He took responsibility and said, I'll fix it, and introduced what is called the Energy Sector Levies Act, ESLA. And said Ghanaians should pay ESLA for a period of 5 years so that we can get money to pay that debt, so that the banking and financial sector, which was struggling as a result of that debt, could rebound. And indeed, he brought it. In opposition, they said it was a nuisance tax. And that when they come, they will scrap it. So that energy sector debt he talks about was debt that Mahama himself also came to meet and added on, but introduced ESLA to solve. And today, ESLA has accumulated over 40 billion, which could have cleared that debt. But they have chopped the money. And so the debt is increasing. And that is why every day, every now and then, you see WAPCO threatening us, Asogli, threatening to shut down. And then we go and pay a few $1 million. Now look at the story. April 21, 2017. April 21, 2017. They had been in government for barely 4 months. Government to issue 15-year bond to clear $2.4 billion energy debt. This story is attributed to Bawumia. Government has announced plans to issue 15-year bond to settle all outstanding debts in the energy sector. The move is also aimed at improving financial strength of the state-owned enterprises. Vice President Dr. Bawumia disclosed this when he addressed a session at the ongoing spring meetings in Washington. If you read the story, Bawumia himself said this, that there is a $2.4 billion debt that is hanging over the neck of state-owned enterprises. What we are going to do is to issue a 15-year long-term bond to deal with the debt. Dr. Bawumia added, what we will do is that we will have one bond which will take off all those liabilities, and government will service those bonds, listen, with the ESLA revenues. Liar like you. Who introduced ESLA?
Alfred.
Who introduced ESLA? When Bawumia in April 2017 was saying, I will use ESLA that Mahama gave us. I will collateralize receipts from ESLA and use the money to pay the debt. So he issued this bond, extending the duration of ESLA, which they called nuisance tax and promised to scrap. They extended it, hypocrites, from 5 years to 15 years, took the $2.4 billion, they didn't pay the debt, and chopped the money. And you have the effrontery to talk about energy sector debt. Now let's go to the jobs figures. Alfred, Bawumia, this is his speech, 73 pages. He never said anywhere that the 2.1 million jobs he claims, those phantom jobs he claims to have created, are former sector jobs. I dare him to show me that. It is not here. This is an afterthought. This is what is called post facto rationalization of a lie. He never made mention of any of the fact that the 2.1 million jobs were former sector jobs. Number two, let's even grant him that the 2.1 million jobs are former sector jobs. The minister in September 2022 said the total number of jobs they have created are 5.3 million. Correct? You read the story. 16 September 2022. Deduct this 2.1 million so-called former jobs from that. You will get 3.2 million informal jobs. Give us the breakdown of those 3.2 million informal jobs. Liars! Liars. Then he says that. Their jobs are formal sector snakes. Master, if a private person, Mr. Martin Kwebu, if your brother in the village goes for a loan or struggles to get some small capital to set up a business and goes to register his employees as snakes as required by law, has government created jobs for his employees?
No.
I said the figure John Bawumia quoted.
Private.
He said that there's 2.1 million jobs. 900,000 of them, 900,000 of those jobs are snakes.
No, I did.
Private people have created their jobs. What has that got to do with government? Now the unemployment figure, please. You gave him time to speak, Alfred. Your production, I want to appeal to them. Give me the same time.
I'm looking at
Don't
the time.
break
I'm
me.
looking
Give me
at
the same time. We need to expose the lies.
I'm looking at the time.
He said that unemployment rate under us was 5 point something, and now it is lower. My brother, you people learn, do research before you come on shows, and stop making a mockery of yourself. Listen. When you were using derogatory remarks that I've lied, what did I say? Hold on. You are a liar, and I will tell you to your face that you are a liar. Hold on. This is my source. The Ghana Living Standard Survey 7 at table 5.27. If you are watching me, Google it. Ghana Living Standard Survey 7, published in 2016 by the Ghana Statistical Service, table 5.27, unemployment rate was 8.4. Now, the 2021 population census, unemployment rate, 2021 population census, unemployment rate, 13.4%. He said that the Ghana Statistical Service has done an annual household employment statistics, and that the figure is 3 point something. I want to show you that is a lie. The latest publication from the Ghana Statistical Service on unemployment figures was published on 1st December 2023. 2023, yeah, 1st December. This is the title. Google it if you are watching me. Unemployment rate in 2022, 11.5%.
Right.
68.1% unemployed persons in vulnerable employment, GSS. Let me read the story to you, please.
Round it up on that.
They say, how can I run up?
No.
You've given him time. Let me have my time.
Round it up on that. Yeah. Let me get that. The details.
It says
of that
unemployment rate for the first 3 quarters of 2022 were 13.4%, 13.9%, and 13.7%, respectively. This is it. But reduced to 11.5% in quarter 4, according to data in the Ghana Annual Household Income and Expenditure Survey, quarter 4, 2022 Labor Statistics Report. There's a Star FM online story. Everybody can check. Alfred again, he says that we left them a certain Eurobond debt that they came to pay. Really? All the Eurobonds we issued during our time. Kufuor was the first to take us to the Eurobond market. He collected $750 million. This was in
2007.
Mills Mahama, $3.5 billion. Only you, $13 billion. And you have defaulted on your Eurobonds as well. You are not ashamed. You are talking about Eurobond. The different employment figures he quoted, let me clarify. That the Minister for Employment for this government himself has gone to Parliament and educated Parliament that the reason why the World Bank has different figures from the Ghana Statistical Service is because of the different definitions they use. And you can go and ask your minister to educate you. Again, another lie.
Which is what exactly?
When they took office, the IMF has said that our economy was in a mess and so on. Alfred, you've done this work. I will continue to nominate you as my witness. Tell me if I'm lying. Was it not in 2016 that the IMF, the World Bank, the Economic and Intelligence Unit predicted that because of the solid investments John Mahama had done in the oil and gas sector, and the coming on stream of 2 new additional oil fields, the 10 Sankofa fields, the Ghana economy was going to grow by 8% in 2017 when they had not even taken office? So if the economy was in a mess, why were all these reputable agencies projecting growth of 8% in 2017?
This was contained in a report issued in
May 2016. So the words of a liar.
But
if the economy was in a mess, how come that when they came, the IMF program we were under, which we started in 2015 and was supposed to end in 2018, why did they extend it for 1 more year? So they are lying. Everything I told you about the economy, we left them. Whether it is GDP growth, whether it is inflation, whether it is our credit rating, whether it is debt to GDP, whether it is unemployment rate, interest rate, everything is 10 times better than it is today. Then he talks about they spending 50 billion on financial sector. You've had in excess of 820 billion in total revenue. So if you have, assuming without admitting that you have even spent 50 billion on a self-inflicted problem which you yourself created because of your vindictiveness, the financial sector crisis, why should you blame anybody when you have had in excess of 820 billion? Then he says that, oh, it is true that Bawumia said that John Mahama fixed Dumsor in March. Look at the words of a liar, the inconsistencies. It is true, Bawumia said John Mahama fixed Dumsor in March 2016. But by August 2016, Dumsor came back. Who told you that? There was no Dumsor in that August you are talking about. If today, ECG says they are shutting down for routine maintenance, and for a day or two, there are erratic power outages in some few places in the country, can you compare that to the Dumsor we suffered in 2012, 2013, 2014, and so on? Can you compare that?
There was
you
a
lie.
concern that the TUC raised. In fact, that's why...
You see, Alfred, because you have given me just 3 minutes, you let me finish. When I finish, you have all the time. You can make your intervention.
You have the next 30 seconds to round up.
I have told you that your own energy analyst, the Poku guy, their presidential aspirant, Kojo Poku, he said John Mahama is the one who solved Dumsor. And who went to Parliament, they asked him, has your government added 1 megawatt to the generational capacity of Ghana? He said no. Says all right. Mahama solved it. Please let me end on this note. Then he said that the World Bank has said, I will conclude in 1 minute. Alfred,
no, in 30 seconds.
He said the World Bank said we have signed power agreements that are unconscionable. Is that not what he said? If the agreements are unconscionable, how come they have extended car power? How come they extended Ameri? How come they even said they were going to amend the Ameri agreement, which they claim was inflated, and ended up pardoning it, inflating it by $850 million.
Sammy
You remember that scandal? These guys are thieves, they are liars, they have no respect for Ghanaians, they have destroyed the economy, and they still have the effrontery to come and speak on television.
Thank you.